Now, in the fight for the central elections, one saw some shocking results for some political heavyweights, leaders of regional parties who suffered stunning defeats and raised a question mark about the political future of those parties. Now, let's look at some of those big losers there. The Biju Janata Dal and Naveen Patnaik. Biggest losers in these elections, Brijesh?
If you ask me honestly, 1 to 5, it's BJD and Naveen Patnaik.
Yes.
I mean, because, nobody had predicted this kind of round.
Who would have expected this?
Absolutely unexpected. And the kind of stranglehold Naveen Babu had on the electorate, I would say, of Odisha, nobody saw it coming.
Right.
By Lok Sabha election, Pandian also off the record admitted that, we might win 11 or 12. So it was a clear indicator that he was not very confident as far as Lok Sabha results are concerned.
Yes.
So we all thought that BJP will be like 12, 13 or 14 like that. But 21 and 1 being the Congress party and BJD wiped out in Lok Sabha.
Yes.
And BJP, losing assembly election, and now the BJP gets to. I think the biggest loser of the regional party is going to be Naveen Patnaik.
Naveen Patnaik, he's lost both the Lok Sabha seats and
Lok Sabha is completely wiped out.
And the state as well. He's and he was looking forward to being the longest serving chief minister.
Yeah.
Pawan Kumar Chamling still holds the record for that. But Pawan Kumar Chamling has lost his elections in Sikkim.
But he has the record too.
He has the record. So that record stands. 22 years and X number of days. So big loser there, Naveen Patnaik. But the other big loser is the Shiromani Akali Dal. Brijesh, what happened to the SAD? Sad story here.
It is a sad story. I agree with you. The reason why last time, they said that we are going to part ways with NDA during this farmer agitation because, there were a lot of protests which is going on saying that, you guys are being two-faced about it. You are still in power with, still in bed with NDA, and here you are giving platitude about, how you are concerned about farmers and all. But by the time they exited, it was too little too late. And I think with Aam Aadmi Party coming to power and Congress putting up good show in the Lok Sabha election and all, Shiromani Akali Dal, right now has been reduced to margin.
Right.
So barring a complete revival and a ruthless execution of, putting people to their place, I don't see Shiromani Akali Dal being a major player in the next 5 years.
Sunita Aran, Shiromani Akali Dal, one of the oldest alliance partners of the NDA and the BJP, of course, they famously parted ways 4 years back, and today they are at the margins of Indian politics. They've been overshadowed in their home state.
I think I go by BJP and BSP.
Yes.
For the simple reason, it's not one election or two elections. Now there is an existential crisis for both the parties. BJP doesn't have a successor.
Right.
And you need somebody to revive the party.
Yes.
I doubt he'd be able to do it himself. So the person who created the party, founded the party, has to find somebody to revive it now.
Yes.
And
he's 77 years old and he's literally in the last lap of his political career.
I'm told like Jayalalitha doesn't want to announce any successor in his lifetime. Like he has said also, let people decide who will get my legacy. Now Mayawati, I say, because she had the potential to become another Jagjeevan Ram. When she won 2007 elections in UP, everybody went gaga over it. And people saw a potential Dalit leader emerging nationwide. But then she lost it out. She did not use her win that way to spread her wings. And then of late, she, some call her B team. This election, it was a lackluster campaign. She was under pressure. Now with the coalition government, she has one, chance because Akash Anand, her nephew, had shown that streak of, reviving the party. He could speak, and she's now threatened by Bhim Army guy who has won the election. And people are looking at him, Dalits are looking at him because he speaks the language which they want to listen. So I think the other party which needs to take some steps immediately before it is buried is BSP. It has supporters and voters who are waiting for her to revive.
Right, absolutely. KV Prasad, but in the South, I think we discussed this in an earlier installment of the 9 p.m. shows that the BRS and the AIADMK, two parties that have been battered in the Lok Sabha 2024, and it's like KCR hasn't kind of recovered from the shock defeat in the assembly elections. He's got another shock at the Lok Sabha as well. And of course the AIADMK, which has exactly the kind of problems that we have associated with one person, single person parties like Naveen Patnaik's Biju Janata Dal. What's going to happen to the BRS and the AIADMK after these results?
Well, first AIADMK. I think the AIADMK has demonstrated, and I think I did mention even in the 9 o'clock show that we are talking about, is it is preparing itself for the next round of assembly elections down the line 2 years, right?
2026.
So summer of 2026, they did not want to go with the BJP. Advani Palliswamy decided against BJP. At the last time they negotiated, they kept away. Palliswamy went out independent. We've seen the results. I don't know exactly what percentage, but I'm sure AIADMK had something like 18 to 20% vote share in this election, right? So that means they have a set of committed workers, something to what Mayawati had in UP at one point in time. They said anybody who gets a BSP ticket starts with 25% plus.
Yes.
Today it is down to 10% or less than 10%, right? So Palliswamy has ensured that the loyal AIADMK supporters, workers have something to look forward to. Because remember, it is a Dravidian-driven politics in Tamil Nadu. So the other pole is the AIADMK. Minus Jayalalitha, if they still maintain a 20% vote share, that shows that without a charismatic figure, right, and somebody who didn't anoint a successor in her lifetime, they've managed to hold some portions of it. Challenges from Shashikala, challenges from TTP Dinakaran, they've just put aside. So these are the matrix was different. So I think AIADMK is still there. It's not going away anyway right away. The same the case with, if we cross across to Telangana.
Right.
KCR has put his succession plan already in place. His son is the chosen one. His nephew is suffering. Of course, we all know all the family-driven politics, but there's a clear line of success. And KCR has, as I think mentioned, he's not the one to throw in the towel. He never does it. He continues to fight. After having lost the Telangana elections 5 months ago, he did what he could do. Vote share, we'll have to look at it. I did not go into those details. So he's given again his people and his the workers and supporters some ray of hope that I'm around, I'm contesting, I'm fighting for you. Now, how much of that translates? Because Telangana Lok Sabha, Telangana Assembly will be 4 years down the line. So he has enough time to rebuild the party and mount the opposition from within, wherever is possible, both outside the assembly and inside. So I think that's where it's a reasonable estimate.
Right. So too early to pronounce epitaphs for the BRS and the AIADMK.
Absolutely. And I think, so Sunita was talking about BSP and she also mentioned one line which is extremely interesting, because the chatter in Uttar Pradesh is that, the reason why Behenji is not coming out and, fighting it out, because there have been several instances, there were four members of a Dalit family killed in near Prayagraj and she didn't went there, if you're a politician, that would have been the best event to capitalize, which has happened just before the election. She was not going out. Is the chatter on the ground is that that there are several cases against her, and then then you are under pressure from the investigative agency and you are forced to play the spoil sport for other parties, because if you look at the number of votes BSP candidates have got 25,000, 50,000, 72,000. So these are enough number of votes to torpedo any single chance until unless you are getting a huge number of vote on yourself. I think 240 could be a blessing in disguise for Mayawati herself as well. Because, now the government cannot mount the exact kind of pressure which they were doing when they had absolute power on their own. So we might see a revival. I mean, Sunita is best placed to answer that. But I think, this might be the best hope in hell for BSP to show a revival. Because Chandrasekhar Azad Raman is snapping at her heels. By winning Nagina, he's snapping at her heels. And if you have another round of, your cadre not tasting power, is going to be an extremely restless cadre.
Right, extremely restless cadre, and that's the BSP strength, and it's a force in being. Sunita Arand, you see Mayawati being actually encouraged by these results to actually come out and revive her party, what she hasn't done in the last couple of years.
I think so. She should, and her nephew should pressure her to. Her constituency is pressuring her to. Otherwise, Chandrasekhar is waiting in the wings to take over. The other thing is, it's not only Mayawati, there may be many more. When I said a coalition government, that means the fear of ET raids and tax rates may come down now. And I think one job that Nitish and Chandrababu Naidu will have is to keep opposition. They'll be the ones who will be approached by opposition for all such cases. So I think they'll be busy with these things also.
Right, too early to pronounce epitaphs in politics, and while the regional parties that we just spoke of may be down, they're certainly not out. They're losers in 2024, but who knows, they could spring back in the assembly elections that are due 2026 onwards. But that's all we have this evening. Thank you very much for joining us, Sunita Aran, KV Prasad, and my colleague Brijesh Pandey.